Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to the GYO piano course. This is lesson 2 today. Lesson 2? Huh? Yeah, interesting. Today we're going to be talking about ways of motion. How do you get around on this thing? And I want to return to, or introduce rather, the fundamental kind of abstract or conceptual framework that we're going to use to understand music and music creation. Western harmony, like I said, Western traditional music theory is an awesome thing, and I deeply respect it, but I don't think it's the only way to think about music. And our approach begins with a step back, so to speak, to what are we doing here? We're using our body. Again, let's check in with our body, sit down, proper height, take a deep breath, relax, make sure all our limbs are calm and relaxed and supple and loose. And with our body, we're going to generate patterns. And again, we started last time with Mary Had a Little Lamb on the 3 black keys. So with our 3 fingers and 3 middle fingers, we started playing around with those 3 black keys. We've got a series of 3 whole steps. That is the pattern that we're dealing with right there. Remember, a half step is between each note. A whole step is skipping one note. So 2 spaces on the piano is a whole tone, a whole note. Yes, a whole tone rather. A whole note is a time signal. And we'll get into that later. It doesn't matter. From our bodies, we manipulate, generate, participate in patterns. And those patterns have certain feelings. So if I play, you get a certain feeling. If I play, it's a different feeling. If I go, that's not the same feeling you get as, all I did was just change one little note there. Very different feeling we have. So from bodies to patterns to feelings and back again. Because when I hear a certain pattern and get a certain feeling, that changes my biochemistry, literally. That's what advertisers know when they put music in shopping malls. They that the music affects people's moods, it affects all kinds of things, and then they do certain things differently. They shop harder, or they they buy more of whatever you're advertising to them because they associate a positive emotion with your product. Might not necessarily even be that you had words saying how great this product was. It could just be they associated this product visually with these sounds that have a certain feeling to them. So the feelings we get from these patterns change our body, and then our body changes the patterns we make, and those new patterns create new feelings, etc., etc., etc. So since I said this is a course about or geared towards helping you jam with people, towards helping you communicate with other musicians, that cycle is very important. And it's not a unidirectional cycle. As I said, it's very complicated. When I hear somebody play something while I'm jamming, it'll completely change. If it makes me feel a certain way, it'll completely change the pattern that I'm involved in. And then we'll be interacting, we'll be exchanging feelings, exchanging patterns, exchanging ideas. That's the point. That's where I want this course to take you to the entry level of, is to be able to just jam, sit down and make music with people. So towards that end, we're going to learn, as I said, about ways of moving on this. How do we fluidly move? What do those different types of motion feel like? Driving a car does not feel like driving or riding on a train, does not feel like riding on a bike, does not feel like being in a boat, etc. We talked last time about something called octaves, and octaves again are, if you didn't catch our last lesson, we go to the bottom of our 3 black keys, our F sharp, and we have another set of 3 black keys. We have another set of 3 black keys, play the bottom note, another set, play the bottom note. Okay, these are all the same note at different levels. You can hear how they have a similar frequency. You can hear if I play them all together, they sound consonant. If I change one of these notes, super different feeling, not consonant, it's not the same note. Now we've got difference introduced there. We want to be able to play with the sameness and the difference that we have access to here to make all these different feelings or to participate in the feelings. Like I said, when you're playing music, there's a sense in which, well, that's another topic for another conversation. But we are instruments. Let me just put it that way. We are also instruments. So let's think of ourselves as instruments dealing with other instruments. Maybe not. You don't have to. It's a little metaphysical and or unnecessary. So those who get me, get me. All right. Scales are ways to move between these octaves. So we've got different octaves. We can start at any one of these points, start at any one of these notes, and we can get up to this other note a lot of different ways. We could go, we could go, we could go, we could go, we could go. There's a billion ways we can get from one note to the next. So scales are different patterns of doing that, and there are kind of some basic, just like in geometry there are basic shapes, here we have basic shapes. So one shape is what we talked about last time, chromatic movement, and that is just move to the next note each time. That's a chromatic scale. That's the first scale that you can learn if you like, and it gets you a feeling for each note on the piano. So you could go all the way up and down like that. That's the chromatic scale. I would suggest, as I said, when you're practicing, be thinking about the ergonomics of it. Be thinking about where your thumb goes. I wasn't doing everything correctly there. Talking and playing is not fully comfortable yet, but I'm getting there. But we want to try to move smoothly and not get caught up. So it's kind of subtle, but I'm passing my thumb under and just playing with middle finger and thumb. I'll put fingering charts down here so you guys have resources to review. But if you want, we got finger, thumb, finger, thumb. Oh, when we come to these groups of two white keys together, and there are two of them here, right above essentially each black set of black keys, there are two white keys. So if you go to the set of 2, E to F. If you go to the set of 3, B to C. Those trip up our chromatic scale, so we can't always be altering thumb and middle finger. What we do is right here, hit our B right above the 3. We add an index finger, and then we're back to the pattern. And then one more index finger for that set of 2 white keys, and we're back to the pattern. And same thing on the way down. Index finger on the 2 white keys there, or on the first of the white keys. Alright, you notice how I'm leaping over on the way down. Alright, remember to lead under and over. We talked about that in lesson 1 a little bit, and we will continue to re-emphasize good ergonomic technique so you can be fluid, fast, and not injure yourself. The second scale we're going to talk about now is what's known as the whole tone scale. As I said, you have half steps in the chromatic scale. And now, what do 2 halves make? They make a whole. So take 2, let's again go back to our bottom of our 3 black keys and start there with the F sharp and go up 2 spaces. We've got our second black key, another 2 spaces, we've got our third black key. So those are whole tones, whole steps. We talked about that a little bit already, just want to re-emphasize. Now let's go back to our 3 middle fingers on the 3 black keys. In the 2, you can spread them out, or you could put them right, the 2 groupings next to each other. And if we just play these 3, alright, we've got a good little whole tone pattern. Now what if we want to extend that, say down and up? Let's try down first. go down. Is that it? No, that's a half step. Good, a whole step. So if you're sitting there with your three fingers on the 3 black keys, and basically exactly where your thumb kind of rests and where your pinky rests is 2 spaces below the bottom black key, the F sharp. That's called an E. You don't have to remember that, but go ahead and play it. Play the bottom of the black keys down to the E. All right. Another whole tone. So let's go up the whole tone scale that we have so far. We've got 4 notes. Already kind of getting a feeling for that. It's pretty spacey, pretty airy. Now let's go up to the, we don't have to move our hands at all. Let's just go up to the space of the note, 2 notes above our top black key. That is what's called a C. It is the note that is right below the 2 black keys. And so we've got now a whole tone scale of 5 notes. Now, why this is such a great place to start, Korea explains it, and I'll include a link to his awesome video if I can find it below, as well as the fingering charts for these various scales. What Chick says is that this is a great little warm-up exercise if you're experienced, but especially if you're new to the piano. It's kind of counterintuitive to press down your index finger on one hand and your ring finger on another, right? That's not something we just normally do in anything in normal real life, where I'm like, let me activate my ring finger and my, it's an awkward thing. It's new to us, so we've got to take a little time each time we sit down, if we want to connect with this kind of unified motion of the hands that is asymmetrical in its distribution of the pattern or whatever. All right, enough abstractions here. If we want to, we can do our Mary Had a Little Lamb from the top black key, and then get freaky with it. Let's get jazz with it. I just went up to that top note and went. Go ahead and try that. See if you can figure it out by ear, and take a second to do that, and then I'll explain what I just did there. Most of you will get it from the. I'm staying along the pattern. I think it makes perfect sense. If you now let's go to the bottom one. All right. Interesting feeling we get from this scale. One thing now we can do to start connecting our hands together so that we can fluidly go back and forth is to mix the pattern up. So yeah, all well and good. How about any variation of those? You just keep your hands relaxed and rested right on the keys right there. They fit perfectly. It's just like fits like a glove. If you just relax your hands and set them on there, that's exactly the keys they'll go to essentially. I can do a million different variations of that. I don't even know what the mathematical permutations possibilities are there, but there's a lot of them. So if you want, every time you sit down, you can position yourself correctly, take a breath, check in, and just start getting your fingers working together. And you're already jamming. You already got a scale. You can already do melodies with it. You can already do harmonies with it. That's where you play 2 notes at once. We'll talk about that later. That'll be next lesson. But for right now, we're just talking about the one way of motion that is a scale, that is a sort of singular, discrete motion. All right. Next time, we're going to talk about major and minor scales. Those are our other really fundamental geometric shapes that we use to move around. So thank you for joining the GYO piano course. I hope this is helping you. And please leave some comments below. Please subscribe. Let me know what's helping, what's not, what's too slow, too fast, what you need a review on. Any of that, I'm really happy to help. Thank you guys for joining us, and good luck. I'll see you soon.